Hi guys, I'm going to show you how to use and navigate Nearpod. Um, it's perfect for interactive lessons, whether or not we are at school in person, but it's especially helpful if we are doing any type of remote learning. So I want to go through it as quickly as I can because there's so many features on here and they've added a lot. But I'm going to show you what I think you'll get the most out of if you are using it for your class. All right, so this is a Nearpod homepage and it's self-explanatory. You have your student login, which they are given a code by you, and then obviously your teacher login and your admin login. And when you click on, this is by Nearpod, your page, you will see my library. So my library has tons of lessons. And the good thing about Nearpod is that they have tons of lessons for different subject areas that are already created. Even subplan lessons, I know I created subplans for them before, through them before. And the Nearpod library is pretty full. You can see different topics, different subjects, different grade levels you can filter it by. But I'm gonna not go through any of those because obviously you can explore those on your own. And I'm gonna get right to how I use Nearpod in my class and how I think you could use it in your classroom. All right, so when I go back to my library, you can see that there are all my lessons, some of them that I created, some of them that were pre-made here in Nearpod. But you also see you have the option of creating your own slides. I would go through creating a lesson in Nearpod, but I think that is pointless because they've updated it to Google Slides. And now creating a lesson in Nearpod is very tedious because you have to save it page by page. And when you create it in Google Slides, it has all the same features that it would have if you were creating it in Nearpod. So I'm going to switch over to Google Slides so you can see how well they mesh together and how easy it is to make your presentation in Google Slides. All right, so here is my Google Slides sample slide deck so I can show you how to navigate with Nearpod. Now, let me X this out, pretend like it wasn't there. So with that, in your Google slide decks, you'll have on the top, you will have the add-on bar. And when you click on the add-ons, usually Nearpod pops up and you want to you're going to click open your slide deck in Nearpod. And when you do that, this sidebar will come up and it gives you all the Nearpod features right here that you can add right into your Google Slides. And I'm going to show you how to do that in a minute. There's so many features you can add. And I could go on, but we don't have a lot of time for that. Now, if I'm in my Google slide deck that I created and I want to add one of these features from Nearpod, it is as simple as clicking on it and it creates a slide. Now, if you look through the different slides, you have BBC video you can add a collaborate, I'll show you that in a minute, drawing, a field trip, which is pretty cool, I'll show you that too. Vocabulary, it directly links to the vocabulary site. Fill in the blanks, Flipgrid, directly links there, graphing calculator, matching pairs, a memory test, Nearpod 3D, I haven't used that one before, an open-ended question, a PDF viewer, polls you can create, my students like those a lot, quizzes, simulations, slideshows, sway, time to climb, videos from like YouTube and web content. All right, so all those things, once you click on it, creates a new slide in your slide deck. All right, so let's pretend I'm going to add a video to my slide deck and I want to add it from Nearpod. And I'm not going to go to my Google insert. I'm going to go over here and add it one through Nearpod instead because the lesson will eventually be opened up in Nearpod by the students. So I'm going to go down to the bottom, click video. Then I want to type in the video that I want. I've been looking at these triangle shirtwaist. YouTube pops up in this window and I find my video, or I can use the direct link, obviously. And then I click save. And then my video appears right here in my slide deck. Now the trick is, once you do this, Your video will not play if you click present in Google Slides, but you're gonna have to click present in Nearpod, but that's a different story. Anyways, so as I go through, I want to create and add things to my slide from the right toolbar from Nearpod, and it goes directly into my slide deck. So I want to show you, this is an example of how to add the things, but I'm going to show you my somewhat complete slide deck so you can see some more features of how they look once you add them to your slide decks. All right, so let me start from the beginning. And for example, let's say I have an anticipatory guide for my students, and I have the questions right here, but they're going to input their information into Nearpod so I can see it in my reports. So again, my Nearpod's not showing up, so I'm going to go up here, click Add-ons, Nearpod, open Nearpod. And from there, so I've already done it. From there, I'm going to be able to add whatever I like. So an anticipatory guide is kind of like a poll. So I'm going to go down here and add a poll to my slide deck. All workers should be protected. So that's my statement. And I'm going to put agree, disagree. And then I'm going to always give my students a timer because it helps me and it helps them. That's a poll, so that's just a 15-second response. And I add that, save it. And now that slide pops over to my slide deck. And then your next question, you do the same thing. Add another poll, it pops into your slide deck. Add your other poll, it pops into your slide deck, and so on. So I'm going to keep going through my slides. And now I want to add a video. So like I showed you earlier, we're going to do the same thing. I want to add my video. It's going to create a whole new slide. I'm going to go here, find my video, type it in. Save it, and it's going to pop up over there into my slide deck. Another video, same thing. And then I'm going to add an open-ended question. That's self-explanatory. I go over here and I look at open-ended question, type my question in Nearpod. What did you notice about the workers in the video? Since it's open-ended, I might give them 1 minute since it's open-ended. And here's another feature. If your student wants to speak their response instead of type it, you can allow that too if you want to. Click save. And now my open-ended question is over there for my students to view in my slide deck. So it's pretty simple as you go through it. The biggest thing is getting familiar with the features and everything that the features do. I'm going to show you a couple more features. I'm not going to show you all of them because it's something that you can play with. Let me get out of my open-ended questions. All right, so when I'm back into my slide deck, I also have a quiz. I created a quiz. Basically, if you have a reading, this quiz is on the video they just watched. I'm going to click quiz. I can add as many questions as I want, different answer choices, and that would all come from this this button. I could add my PDF right into the slide deck, and the students, once you're in Nearpod, they're able to click on the slide and see it for themselves. And there's also a way you can add a Google Doc where they can type on it, but I'm not going to show you that right now. But so there's my reading, and then after the reading, I have the students go to Flipgrid and answer questions on the reading. Again, I go to Flipgrid, and when I go there, I just click on my links from Flipgrid, URLs from Flipgrid, and I add those, and then my Flipgrid page pops up over there on my slide deck after I have that information put in. I also can show you one with, that's another open-ended question. A sort, where basically I have the matching pairs with sequential order. What happened first, second, and third? That will pop up, and that one is under, let's see. Matching pairs. Well, I think you get the idea about how that works. And there's also one that I love to do called fill in the blank. That's collaborate, where they can collaborate together. I'll show you that in a minute. Then you have fill in the blank, or basically you could take any text at all that you're studying and create like a closed activity. You just copy and paste your text, and Flipgrid will actually, not Flipgrid, I'm sorry, Nearpod will actually take it and blank out the words, so it creates like a closed activity for you. See? There. Next. Click on all the words you want to be blank, and then they will come up as a closed activity. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and show you quickly what happens when you put all of this into Nearpod. So after you create your slide deck over here, you click Save and go to Nearpod. And once you're in Nearpod, it will save right here and it will load up. I'm going to open this one because I've already started it, and it might take a minute for that to save. Let's see, or not. All right, so after that loads, I'll go through the slide deck so you can see how it looks. The best thing about Nearpod is that it's interactive and engaging, and especially if you're doing it as a live lesson, it keeps the kids accountable while they are actually in your virtual class. So you have two options: live lesson, which means you're with the students and you're doing it at the same time, and student pace, which is self-explanatory. I'm going to click on live lesson, and it does save after you've gone through it once. That's the code your students would receive. You can make a link, or you can put it in Google Classroom, email it, however you want to do that. All right, so here's my Google slide deck, and I'm going through it, and I'm going to skip through the slides. I just want to show you how the features pop up on Flipgrid. All right, so this is my first feature, and it's going to ask me, you want the video to be played on all devices, which means each student can stop and start the video as they please, or if you pick this device only, it's only shown on your video, and that's perfect for when you're doing a live lesson. All right, so they watch the video, blah, 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 it's right in there. We're finished with that. And now I have my students answering. Actually, I don't even, this is going. Let me go back out of here. I don't know what this just did. I think it skipped all my slides. So let me go back out of there. Leave it. Sorry about that. Let's go to this one. All right, so there we go. There's a code again. And I just went through and showed you, okay, so that was what I had first. All right, so your anticipatory guide, your agree or disagree, it creates a student poll. And you're in control of the activity. So you start it. This is when you're doing a live lesson, and the students have 15 seconds to answer agree or disagree. This creates like a graph that shows how many students selected which answer. And then the video thing, I showed you that, play on this device. Then they had their video, and then I asked them a question about the video, which again, I start, and the students answer it, and it will show which students answered, what their answer was, and it will show how much participation you have, so you know if you needed to wait on students or not. You can also show student names or hide student names. Same thing with that question. There's another video. And I think that this video leads to a quiz. So let's say you have 20 questions. It doesn't matter how many questions you have. Again, you give them a timer. All of your questions are here. Students' names, they don't have to see that. It can be on your screen. You can show them or hide them depending on what you're using the quiz for. There's your PDF that I added in there so the students can click here and see the document that they are reading. Speaking sample, it opens up to Flipgrid. And once you put your URLs for your Flipgrid page, and if you need help with Flipgrid, I can help you with that too. But all of your prompt is here, student responses, they can click on and see each other's response. Provide a summary, it's what they're doing. Another open-ended question, so I'm just going to skip past that. And then there's my jigsaw. I can't really show you what it looks like because I'm not on a student computer, so I can't really show you that. But basically, your pairs look like this, and your answers, it will show you how many they got right, how many they got wrong, and your reports. This is what a collaborate board is. You can ask a question, and it's collaborate because the students can all put their answers here and like each other's answers. And it asks you first if you would like to approve the student comments. I usually pick no unless you think you're going to have students who say inappropriate things. Then they can just type answers here, and they pop up. They can like or collaborate that way. They can answer each other's questions and comment and like each other's responses. And the last thing that I showed you was the fill in the blanks, where you take a text and it shows up as blank here, and the students use the word bank to fill in key vocabulary words or whatever words you think are important in that text. And that's basically all the ones that I went through today. There are so many more features in Nearpod. Oh, here's Time to Climb. Oh, I like this one too. Time to Climb is basically like a quizzes game, and then you put comprehension questions in, and it gives kids a competition. So just like on quizzes, they're trying to compete to be the #1 spot. So that's what that is. Other than that, that's basically all the features I'm going to show you because I could go on for hours with Nearpod. And if you want to ask me questions about Nearpod, feel free to do so. And remember, after you end your session, you always have access to reports that in the reports show you the students' activities, what questions they got wrong, which ones they didn't answer at all. So you have a report right there. And I think Nearpod also links to Canvas now. However, since I don't have an active Canvas course, I couldn't show you that. But eventually it will be up for the school year and I can show you that then. So I'm finished and I'm going to stop this lesson. And if you have any questions, feel free to email me. Bye.